All right, here we go. It is Monday night, October 22nd. Thank you guys for signing on tonight. My name is Dee Korchin, one of the coaches in our group, and happy to be here with you guys. Just returned from Sundance. If you're not familiar with that, Optavia offers several events every year for us as coaches for ongoing training. So we offer these Zoom trainings within our team. We offer these for camaraderie because we live all over the place. We've got coaches, I'm looking now, we've got coaches in North Carolina, we've got coaches in Florida, in New Jersey, trying to see who else is on here from Florida, just different places. So this is just the way that we can join in together and learn together and just recognize that we are part of community and part of team. And community is so important. And then Optavia offers several events that we can get together through the year. Some are online trainings that we can participate in, which are amazing, but then also in-person events. And in-person events, I highly recommend that you plan to attend every event that you qualify for, because that is really where the magic happens, where you really start to get the big picture of what Optavia is about, who we are, what we stand for, and what our mission is. And I will tell you, coming from this last conference, the mission is crystal clear about what we have to offer and the impact that we can really make on the world. So the couple of conferences, if you're new, I just decided I'm going to slow things down a bit because we've got so many new coaches. I never like to assume that people know things, you know what I mean? Or we might use language. But the couple of things to start thinking about even for yourself is every July, the company offers a national convention. And that, I think the dates for that this year are like the 25th to the 28th. And you can look online on Optavia Connect to find details on that. But that is definitely a do not miss opportunity. Every coach qualifies for it. And then we have other ones. And then Sundance is an annual event that Dr. Anderson hosts for really the top leaders in the company. And we can really understand where his head is, where the company is headed, kind of regroup. Sundance is a resort in Utah that was built and owned, and still is owned, by Robert Redford. And he designed the place. It's a ski resort, but it's very quaint, very small, and he really designed it for a place of creativity. So different businesses have conferences there, and it just really makes sense once a year to kind of pause and kind of, see where you are and where you want to go. And what was really cool this year, is that, I talk to everybody I can at every event. And what I learned is that, we have people that move quickly in this company up to top levels. We have people that move at a slower pace. But at the end of the day, I think we're all constantly learning. We're trying to be our best. We all have the same struggles. We all have the same challenges. And so what I just love is that there was just this group of people that were there, on their own dime, their own time, because we're looking to be our best so that we can be our best for you guys and really and help that. So I'm going to bring some of the ideas back, but I will tell you primarily what we spent our time on was we were there from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The first 2 days were really spent on who are we as a company, but more importantly, what is it that we're offering to the world, to clients. And there's new tools coming out. Dr. Anderson is releasing a new Habits of Health 2.0. It's scheduled for first quarter very soon, early in the first quarter of 2019. But what's going to be a huge change, and I can't tell you too much about it because it's not copywritten yet, but I got a secret copy of it. But the companion guide, what goes with our new book, is incredible. And what it really does is reflect who we are in terms of we're offering a health transformation, a life transformation to people. And I think for a long time, and you might even be in the place now, we've thought of what we offer as weight loss. But what you're going to find moving forward is a continual bigger emphasis on really helping people create health in all areas of health. There was really like 6 core things, and reaching a healthy weight is only one of them. And because so many individuals are, and the statistics in the world on people lacking time and financial resources. Of course, offering coaching is a natural extension of who we are, and we'll be having those conversations from the beginning with people. So it's a very normal expectation that this is who we are, and this is what is in people's best interest. And the more we begin to talk about it, share about it, it will just become second nature to all of us. So a couple things I'm going to kind of run through. Last week we talked about client acquisition, and we're always looking for more clients, right? We always want to help more people. It seems an area. So if you missed last week's call, the recording is posted, but a lot of great ideas were shared on how to connect with more people to be able to help more people. But the reality is, I think sometimes, I know I've been guilty of it, we're like, yay, I got a client, like that's the be all, like that's it, like, hey, I got a client. But quite frankly, that's where the work begins. And our real journey and our real role as the coach is to be able to awaken individuals to what is available, because most often they did just come for us for weight loss, but it's our role to awaken them to what's possible, and then to be able to guide them through that process. So I'm going to take this next couple of weeks to really dive into client support and bringing our clients on board so that we really understand not so much the mechanics, but I want to talk more about posturing our role as the coach, and what, how do we communicate what our relationship is with them? Why would they want to be a part of us and answer our phone calls? Because that's something I hear from coaches and sometimes have is coaches or clients not calling us back, and then really posturing to them what is possible for them. So a couple of things I wanted to give a shout out. Lisa Bloom announced on her page today she's got a new coach, Gina. Gina, maybe you can give us a wave. I know I saw you get on earlier. So welcome, just signed on today as a coach and on the call, and we've got several others that just signed up in the recent weeks. And I know that Carol, a coach under Zena, earned her CAB today. So lots of fun. There's Carol. So a lot of her client acquisition bonus for reaching 5 clients in her first 30 days. So I never want to overlook these things because they're big milestones in our business by helping others. And all of this is just a reflection of how many you are helping. So we are going to dive into it because I always have a hard stop at 8 p.m. We've got Dr. A that comes on. If you're new to our organization, Dr. A comes on at 8 p.m., does a weekly call. I'm sure they'll probably share some of the same information from Sundance or maybe something different, but that is definitely, if you want to grow a business in Optavia, just highly encourage you to be on Dr. A's call immediately following this one. So I am going to do a little screen share here because it just helps me if I can have something to follow along with. So let me get a slideshow started here. So like I said, we're going to take the next few weeks to talk about quality client support. So we're going to acquire a new client, bring them on board. So how do we successfully onboard them? Again, primarily in terms of how do we posture our relationship with them and expectations, and then and like I said, posturing the relationship. So there's really, when you talk about what our role is as a coach, the coaching role is really 3 fundamental things. We want to awaken the client to their life transformation. And you're going to start to hear a lot of that terminology going forward is about life transformation beyond weight loss. So the key areas of health we'll be working with individuals on is, and a lot of it you're familiar with, but more of an emphasis and discussion around hydration, their movement and exercise, their sleep, helping them reach that healthy weight and learn how to sustain it and optimize it, and also the healthy mind. And so, of course, the healthy mind is going to involve a couple of things, primarily around the mindset and their feelings around food and eating, their self-image and that sort of thing, but then also getting into and looking at their healthy mind in terms of how's the rest of their life. Are they just surviving? Do they just work a job and do the grind and do all that and do the, make the money, just that still doesn't pay the bills? Or can we help move them to a better position of thriving? So we're going to be able to help them. Again, we're going to awaken them by guiding them. And our real role is to guide them and integrate them into our full system. And we'll talk about what that looks like. And then offer for them to also join us as a coach on this journey. And so you're going to start to see a real, we've started, our team has been phenomenal in terms of really, really sharing the coaching opportunity. But what you'll realize over time is that this is just a natural extension of what Optavia is. And it's why we're on the call, is because somebody offered it to us. So it's really getting comfortable with extending the invitation for people to join us, because it is in their best interest for their own personal health, as well as the other opportunities it can open up for them. So, whoops, there we go. Hold on for a second. There it is. So we're going to talk about successful onboarding. And, a lot of times we bring on clients, they might be your friends, they might be your family, and that's great. That's usually how it works, is that it's the people around us that we know. But sometimes we have to kind of switch it up and put on our coaching hat with our friends and family and let them realize that we are their coach, during these calls or this, this process, and maybe take the friendship or the family discussions away from it, so that we can really posture what the coaching relationship looks like, and also be able to help you potentially offer them coaching as well. And sometimes I'll find that with friends and family, the lines can get really blurred. The phone calls can get really long because we discuss all sorts of stuff. And so then when we offer coaching, they're like, I can't do that. It takes so much time. So, but then also when we bring on new clients, very often they're referrals, right? It might come from somebody that you don't know. So we're going to start to build trust and build that relationship and start to get to know that person better, just so that, again, we can awaken them to what's possible and how we can help them in all areas of life. So a couple of things just to make sure, some logistics, and this doesn't matter really how far in the journey you are, but from the point that they say yes on, we want to just define and let our clients know what our communication is going to look like for them and what they can expect. Because one thing I've always known is that I don't want to make a phone call and for somebody to see D. Korchin and them not answer it because they think it's going to take too long. So I really like to let people know what the time frames are going to be, and also what our relationship is. So the primary way that we communicate with our clients, and this from how we do health assessments, et cetera, is by communicating by phone. Hands down, phone is what we do. We can always use text to set up a meeting. We can use text as a follow-up. We can use text as periodic check-ins. We want our clients to text us their fun things. I can see Allison on the screen, and a lot of times she'll text me a picture of a new outfit or something that she did, and we want that. We love it. But the weekly or the ongoing communication is always by phone. So I let my clients know that from the get-go. I'll say, you know what, you are busy, I'm busy, but I just need to let you know, in order for you to be successful and have your best experience, our communication will be by phone primarily. I promise. I always tell them on the health assessment, once after they said yes, I say, you know what, this is probably the longest call that you'll have with me, because I really want to respect your time going forward. And then after I finish up that health assessment and let them know what that's going to look like, then I'll move it, I'll say, okay, the next thing we're going to do is your night before call. So I need you to let me know, let's watch the tracking. Let's see when your program arrives. We'll, decide your date, and we'll need to talk by phone before you start, so we can make sure you get off to a successful start. And I let them know that, that call is going to take about 10 minutes. And I try to keep it at 10 minutes. I mean, if we really go through it, we do. So I set up the expectation. I guess that's my point, is just always be posturing what the expectation is so that they know. And at some point, either on the health assessment when they've said yes, but more likely on the night before call, I will let them know, okay, I'm going to check in with you for the next few days. I want to make sure that you get off to a good start. I want to make sure you feel good, and make sure, that you I'm here to answer any questions. So those calls, I'll be checking in with you on the next few days. Those calls will be just, anywhere from like 3 to 5 minutes. And I truly keep them at that time frame, because if we're efficient with our questioning, that we'll be able to do that. And then do their first week celebration call with them, and I let them know those are about 10 to 15 minutes on that. Depending on your comfort level, where you are, either on the first call or like the second call, I like to let them know that I am their health coach, through good, through bad, through, you know, when it's going well, when it's not going well, and that, you know, we'll be setting up a schedule to talk on a regular basis, and that, you know, it's going to be great when we're celebrating really good things, but there might be times when they're feeling challenged or not having great experience. And if anything, that is definitely the time that we need to be talking, because being humans, that is where people start to feel some shame, is when things aren't going well, and that is potentially where the ball can get dropped. So we want to constantly posture that from the beginning, and then let them know that you know, that we want to talk to them in good times and bad. So I'm going to stop my share here for a second, and I just want to see what kind of questions you have around that. Or does that feel comfortable, or do you say it a different way? Who has something to offer on that? Go ahead and unmute yourself if you do.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Sure, Lauren.
So, you know, if you have a client who you have a set day set up that you're supposed to talk with them every week, and it's been like 3 weeks and they haven't returned a phone call, they haven't returned a text message, what do you typically do? Because, you know, I don't want to be, you know, but they're still ordering. Like, I don't want to come off, I don't want to bug them, but I want to make sure that they know that I'm here for them, and that, you know, so I just wonder what you do in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk more about this probably in next week's call as well, but I'm happy to offer a little around it. Hopefully that will start to diminish as we start to get a little more effective in our front line in terms of what the expectations are, and letting them know that it really is in their best interest, and that I also from the beginning will tell people that, listen, you know, you're going to fall in love with the 5-in-1 program because it works and it's so easy. But I want to tell you from the get-go, just like when I shared with you about the program, what makes this work is our relationship, our communication, you know, the community support we offer in the education. So from the get-go, always let them know, and that as their coach, you are always going to be pointing them to the tools that are going to be in their best interest, because, you know, if they want to lose the weight and keep it off. But sometimes those things are going to happen. It's going to slip through the cracks. People are going to want to just do the diet, and they're not going to return your calls, or they get busy and don't call you back. So I give it about 3 weeks in a row that I, you know, will reach out and leave a message. I do want them to hear my voice and let them know, like, hey, I hope everything's okay. I mean, I'm kind of going to assume no news is good news, but I'm just going to tell you, like, our relationship is real important, and all I need is about 3 to 5 minutes of your time, but I would really like to hear it from you that you're doing well. And I say this on about call 3. And if you're not doing well, I definitely want to hear from you, because maybe we can explore some options that would help you to move forward. If they continue to order and they don't call you back, I will give them an off the hook, like on the 4th call, if they haven't called me back. And I'll say, you know what, I feel like I'm calling you. I'm not getting anything back. I'm going to assume you're okay. I just want you to know my door is always open. I will check, you know, and I want you to call me. But then what I will do is I will call them every month that they order. I will still try to call them at least once that month. And that was reinforced to me. I just was on vacation, and I was on a cruise in Europe, and sat down at dinner, and the very first night, you know, what do? I'm a health coach. Oh, I do this diet, and I have a health coach. She was like from Ohio, like here we are in Europe, and she's an Optavian across the table from me. And she said, but I haven't heard from my coach in a long time. And I said, really? I go, well, you know, tell me more about that. Because she said, well, I started out and I was doing really great, and we talked all the time, and then I kind of fell off, and I still order some stuff, but I really want to go back on now, but I haven't heard from her in a long time. And I guess she's just really busy. And so I encouraged her. I was like, you know, I encourage you to reach out to her, because she probably assumed you didn't want her help since she didn't return her call a few times. But it kind of resonated with me that we probably should at least be doing, like, if they're ordering, making at least 1 call a month, or, you know, to make sure that, you know, we appreciate it. We thank them. We're there for them, whether they choose to do it or not. Take advantage of it.
Thanks,
Does that
Dee.
help?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Anything else before we move on? Okay, awesome. We'll keep it rolling. All right. All right. So then that goes into that first week celebration call. So the posturing our relationship with the client is, number one, checking in with ourselves. And if you're not there yet, starting to adopt the mindset of being a transformation coach, not a weight loss coach. Because if we are in the mindset and we start just coaching on the 5 and 1, like we'll talk more about what weekly calls look like next week. But if we just start talking about, okay, how much did you lose? What do you do? Whatever, then we're coaching the diet. And we definitely want to be asking our clients about celebrations and how are they doing in these other key areas of health, their hydration, etc. I always like to ask the question, all right, besides your weight loss, tell me, what are we celebrating this week? So we'll hopefully start to work on some of that mindset stuff. But again, think of yourself as the transformation coach, that we are looking at somebody's entire health and looking to move them forward, not just the weight loss, and also looking at the other areas of their life that Optavia can benefit them. Our clients will try to drive the relationship because all they know is how to diet. It's all they've ever done before is diet. So if it's up to us to gently, again, it's like a baby sleeping. We don't want to go up and shake them, insanely and say, wake up, wake up. We want to gently awaken them to what's possible, but we definitely have a responsibility to help them do that. So again, we're going to do that through our phone calls. We want to hear their voice. It's how we ask questions, how we can really get a feel for where they are emotionally. Adding them to our Facebook group. Again, kind of to follow on what I was sharing before, but to Lauren's question is, from the get-go, when we're onboarding our clients, we're going to posture, how we're going to help them as a coach, posture how we're going to communicate by phone, posture the importance of community. And so I really recommend, adding them. Don't just do a dump and run and, like drop them in the group and leave. Encourage them to introduce themselves, to take advantage of it. And I like to share why we want them to actually participate in the page, not just read it, because we are a community and somebody else behind them is going to come in and learn from their experience. But really do your best to get them involved, because these, I'm telling you, if you have clients that fall off and they're not calling you back, I can guarantee you they're probably not plugged into these other things as well. So the sooner we can plug them in, the quicker. Like, we want to use these tools to help show them what's available to them, how the success they can have, as well as, what it can look like beyond what they think it is. The Wednesday night Habits of Health calls, guys, they are let them do the heavy lifting for you in terms of posturing and showing them things about mindset and issues. And then every weekly Habit of Health call is followed by a trilogy call. So I can't tell you how many times I will have people stay on and say, oh my gosh, like I stayed on after and watched, that part about coaching. Like, that's kind of cool. Like, they want to learn more and do that. And the tool did it for me by introducing the idea, or it reinforced what I had already dripped on them. And then the education books, they're not going to want to pick them up. They won't. The new tools we have coming, we're going to help in terms of helping with that process, but I definitely incorporate that in, and I usually let them get through week 1 on the program. And then my posture is I start them on chapter 3 in the book, rather than having them start at chapter 1 or 2, which can be a little dry and a little sciencey. I like to start at chapter 3. So if you haven't read that lately, it might be a good idea to pick it up, and then you'll see why. That's why I like to start them there, because it starts to change their orientation in terms of the way that they're looking at their health, and change it from losing weight to actually creating what they want. So chapter 3 I do first, and then chapter 4 after they've done that, which is about making choices to support that goal. So the last thing I wanted to cover tonight is how we start to drip about the opportunity that we have about health coaching. And I was talking with Zena on a call tonight, and Zena was saying, you know what, this is just part, I don't know if I'll have time for her to share, but that this is just part of who she is now. And she does a master at the beginning of, even on the first health assessment. What I say to people in terms of dripping about the possibility that they'll probably want to become a coach is I'll say, when they've said yes on the health assessment, I will say, just one more thing. Like, I'm so excited to work with you, but one more thing. When you start this journey, and you are going to feel amazing, and two things are going to happen. People are going to start noticing you and that you're changing, and then you're going to start noticing the world around you and who needs Optavia. And we can talk about this more later, but it's very possible that you might want to decide to link arms with us as a coach and help your friends and family, because that's often what happens. That's all I say. I don't ask them if they'd be interested in it. It's just put it out there. The night before call, guys, make sure you're getting photos, the before pictures of your clients. What I do is I'll say, all right, you're starting this journey. I'm going to need your starting weight, but what I want you to do tonight is go ahead and take your before pictures. This is just an accountability step. You're going to be so glad you have them on this journey. Nothing happens to them, except for we'll do some documentation of your journey. But you know what? You might decide, like we talked about the other day, you might decide to become a coach, and you're going to be so glad you have these. And follow up. Like when they start the program, like day one, you do that call. If you don't have the pictures, follow up. Hey, did you text me those pictures? I don't remember seeing them. So no off the hooks on that. And they'll send them. If you just make it part of your process, not really asking permission, just saying like, this is what we do, they'll send them. So that's the second drip. And then in those first, your health assessment, you've asked the questions, you're listening, right? We've asked them their stress level in the health assessment. We've asked them on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do they like their job? We've started to ask these questions. So we want to just be on the lookout, have our ears open to listen for the need of how coaching might fit into their world going forward. So we're gonna elaborate on that next week. We'll talk more about what do our calls look like, maybe even role play a conversation. But let's stop here and jump in. I want to hear who has any comments or questions around what we've covered so far. Dominique?
Yes. Quick question.
Sure.
Who does the text messaging? Who of you guys does the text messaging? I started doing it, and it is a little bit of work, I know, but I think these little videos are fabulous, and they really help us as coaches to do also a little bit of heavy lifting, So, but I use a little program, but I don't know if that's the best one. It's called Group Messenger. So I don't know if anybody has a better one, because mine doesn't automatically send it out. I still have to go in and send it. So it's not really timed, but I don't know if anybody has better suggestions or uses a better program to send these text messages.
Is that GroupMe that you're using? GroupMe, the app GroupMe?
Let me see. It is called Mass Group Text Scheduler.
Oh, is that an iPhone?
It's an iPhone.
iPhone. I think that's only available for iPhone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what she's referring to, I will put a link to this in our coach group. So there are, if you look at, we have a new client checklist that's in the files section. We have really two options that we can do with our clients, and that we want to have close communication with our clients and be like guiding them every step of the way. So there is a texting campaign that we can do that it starts actually from the time they say yes, but it requires us as individuals to copy and paste those texts and send them to them, whatever. Like Dominique said, they're very helpful to people. I had stopped it for a while, but I'm going back to it because my clients seem to do better with it. But if you don't want to, and if you have an Android, I know that you can schedule the text. So you could go ahead and put them all in your phone to a client, days 1 through 8, and then you can schedule it. Lisa Bloom said she keeps a calendar. So she writes it on the calendar what day they're on. If you don't want to do that, if you go into Share, Optavia Share, there is the virtual support series that you can do for your client. And if you have a new client starting, you just have to key their name in. It'll prompt that new client series. They get the videos, but they don't get the verbiage that is in the text. So I say either system is good, but we should be using either system. And that is in our new client checklist. That is in the file section. And your coach, if you're a new coach, will go over how you get a client started with that. But good question. Good question. If anybody has any suggestions around that, let's get a conversation going in our coach group around it. I'm going to let you guys go so you can step over to Dr. A's call. I hope this was helpful. We're going to continue the conversation, again, kind of go at this slower pace so we're all feeling confident with it. But thank you guys for being on. I'll see you next week.